Awesome, awesome. Thank you kindly. Good to see you guys and girls. Good to see you all. We'll take a look at some live setups tonight, I reckon. So I'm gonna start here in just over a minute. We'll give it a second so that everyone can join. Thanks, Jimmy, for making it in. I'm booking in a room. Let's get cracking. Hey, hey. Alrighty, alrighty. Let's get cracking. Your beauty. Welcome. Welcome, team. Welcome to another week. And interesting times indeed, right? Between the war news and Trump and all sorts of news. But all we do at the end of the day is we just look at the charts. And let's take a quick look, as we always do. We start with the daddy dollar. And we can see that dollar has been doing what we thought it was going to do, which is basically just creating nice lower lows. So we broke structure, we ended up taking the previous lows, and now obviously we are in a bearish environment, which is good. It's good for assets. We can see we've obviously taken out previous levels, quite important. They've been holding off strong since 2023, so we've now gone as low as 2022, and looks like we're going to go a little bit lower too. So on a weekly, all we have to do is just take a nice handy dandy pip tool, make it a little bit more visible for you guys. Let me do some lines there. And we're just, as you can see, we're just barely gone below the 618. I do think we're going to come as low as the 786 area. So somewhere in the 94 to 92s. And what that means, of course, is if the dollar does go down, we tend to see assets keep rising or going up. And assets of the likes of gold, silver, Bitcoin, basically any hedge against the dollar. If the dollar goes down, smart money wants to put their money into into an asset that appreciates, basically, right? It's an inverse correlation. So it's always important for us to have an understanding of what the dollar is doing. Doesn't matter if we're trading crypto, doesn't matter if we're trading stocks, forex. Should always start your analysis with having a little look at where the dollar is at. With that out of the way, we obviously have a bit of an understanding of macroeconomics, and now we can take a look at something a bit more crypto related, Bitcoin dominance. We've talked about this extensively, about this fake out that is potentially replicating here, and you can see now we have come to a level where the Bitcoin dominance is really struggling to push above. This is not something that we haven't seen before. We've seen this in the past, but usually when we see this kind of formation, what it means is that there starts to be a lot of selling pressure, right? And if the Bitcoin dominance is starting to overcome, I guess, by selling pressure, what it means, of course, that there's going to be less money into Bitcoin. These are percentages. So as this chart goes down, that means that there's less money into Bitcoin and more money into perhaps alts or other assets, which is a good thing for our alts. So very good to see these charts basically not quite topping out just yet. I think we talked about it last week. Until we see this level, this structure, daily structure taken out, which is a 62% on a daily, until we see some strong closes below, I'm not going to call an altcoin rally just yet, but it is encouraging to see that the bears are starting to have a bit more something to say in the market. It's not just bull, 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 bull. This is definitely a good sign of potential exhaustion. So we now have an idea that dollar is potentially keep going down, and Bitcoin dominance may also be ready to finally melt. And I say may because this could just simply be a matter of consolidation. So consolidation happens when we're basically creating liquidity, and then there's another explosion up, which is called accumulation. So too early to see. Let's just wait what happens, but this is definitely a good sign for now. Let's have a little look at ETH BTC, which is the other chart that we always look at, and this is a good temperature gauge for where the alts may be, and nothing too new or too I guess exciting to see. It's just basically ranging here. We're creating this range, so with this obviously the 0.26 and change being the highs, and the 0.23, I guess 22.5 being the low. So we are into this range, and opposite of BTC of dominance, of course, we want to see some stronger closes above out of this range, and that will tell us that we are eventually ready for an altcoin rally. We're not there yet, but it's always good to take a little look. Let's have a live look at what Bitcoin is doing now. Now, on the daily, first of all, let me know in the chat if you can see what happened right here. What is this? What do we call this? In the chat, give me some engagement. Let me know that you're here. I need to know that I'm not just talking to myself. And if you are watching this recording, feel free to drop a comment below. Tell me you're here, say good day. But if you're here with me live, let me know. What is this? What is this candle? What is it doing? It starts with a B. Liquidity grab? Absolutely. It grabbed liquidity. And it closed below the previous low. So this was obviously a high and a low, a high and a low, a high, and we made a lower low. So we have broken structure, right? This is a BOS. This is a breaker structure. This one candle of just a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago, this was a breaker structure on the daily, mind you. So we are effectively now in a daily breaker structure environment, and we have failed to make a higher high, which is not necessarily super surprising given that this was an all-time high. We have now managed to make a lower high, and now the real question is, are we going to push lower and keep making lower lows? So keep going into the structure that we have started. So something like this could entirely be possible. And then obviously we need to see what is going to happen then. So I am expecting a retrace down at some stage into this order block. Excuse me, into this order block. Not grabbing the tools. Into this order block right here. So low 90s, sorry, high 90s into low 90s into this range. I am expecting some sort of retracement there. And I'm expecting potentially a small rejection from this big candle, hence why I have this potential long marked up here. This is not something that I'm going to set a limit for. This is something that I'm going to play live once we get to that level, just because we could very easily melt, take this level out. So I'll have to see some lower time frame confirmation first before entering such long, but definitely an interesting area that we are basically just approaching now in the next few days, and trading into this candle, which has already been tested by this week on the daily. So you can see it right here has already been tested. Now it's just going to be a matter of, are we going to potentially take out these lows? So this wasn't quite a low here, depending on the feed, of course, but there is a strong chance that we might come back here, test this low again, and then we'll see some sort of reaction, be it going up or obviously going down. We'll have to wait and see. But in the short term, I am bearish, and the candle to play off really would have been this one, this daily candle right here, because as Jimmy said perfectly in the chat earlier, this is a beautiful liquidity grab. You can see week right here. That was a great liquidity grab on a daily from Bitcoin. And if we obviously zoom out lower time frames, such as the 4-hour, we can see a little bit clearer. There's a lot of manipulation happening at the moment. So we had obviously some nice liquidity built here, taken out by this impulsive move, and this was a buy to sell move. So obviously the market is now doing the move that it was intended to, and this was a very much a smart money trap, and the entry would have been into this candle if you were on the chart. I was not, so I missed that entry, and I'm not going to chase an entry currently, unless we see some sort of retest into imbalances, or potentially some sort of retest even into this candle. I am not going to chase the move. I missed it, and that's fine. The move that I had marked up here, as I said earlier, I'm not going to take it just because of a candle, which is this candle right here. You can see big move down, left imbalances, and then obviously big move on the opposite direction. This is definitely a candle that is going to give us some sort of reaction. But the reaction could be up, or the reaction could just be a continuation on the way down. So definitely put some alerts into this proximity, which is your 101. You can call it almost 102 if you want, for ease, and into the 101 500. Those will be my levels of keep an eye out. But definitely don't like this. Definitely don't like this. This level of liquidity right here is a magnet, as we know, which leads me to believe we will see some sort of continuation down, which is the thesis that we just explored now on the higher time frame. So zooming in into the 4 hours as well, you can see there's a lot of imbalances left behind to the left. So if we go back into start of May, we have a nice order block here with a clean 4-hour candle. That will be definitely a target for a buy, and then potentially some more lows in the low 90s. So not saying that this is the end of the bull market, of course. This could be very much a wave 4 into a potential wave 5 wave Elliott wave. So meaning that there will be some sort of continuation down. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, and then a 4 coming down, and then an explosive wave 5 potentially into the 130, 140s. But I do also need to make a bearish case, of course, which is based on previous cycles. This is my weekly analysis, always on Bitcoin, of course, and you can see this was the previous cycle right here, double top, new all-time high, and it is kind of similar to what we've done now, obviously, double top, all-time high. So there is a possibility we might see some sort of reaction here, or there's a possibility that this entire thesis just doesn't play out, which is what I'm hoping it will happen. But it's good to have an eye on it, and it's good to be prepared for it, because if that is the case, we need to obviously wait for a bit of a pullback, exit once we start seeing major, and when I say major, I mean weekly, monthly liquidity levels being taken out, and also break a structure. Then we know that potentially this is the top for the cycle. But for now, as you can see, we are very much at a double top, I guess 1 and 2, which is very similar to what happened here. So keep an eye on it. Mind you, this is on a weekly, so each candle is 1 week. So we're looking at potentially months. We'll be looking at July, August for this entire move to play out, and potentially break a structure somewhere around end of August. So we'll see. Too early to say, but definitely be prepared. And it's good to have a bull case and a bear case just in case. Treat your trading like a business, right? You have to be prepared for all sort of possibilities, and act accordingly. So with Bitcoin though, in the short term, I am bearish. Like I said, we have obviously breaking structure, and that leads me to perhaps Ethereum. Ethereum is in a very different spot. We're back onto the daily now. We just looked at Bitcoin daily. We have broken structure in this candle right here, and we have failed to make a high, and Ethereum is kind of chilling in the opposite direction, in the sense that it has managed to break the structure. So it has made a higher high, but don't be too eager to press buy just yet, because this kind of moves are very much called in. This could very well be inducing liquidity. What I mean by that is it could be a fake out, where the market is basically inducing buyers to enter the market saying, oh, we have broken the structure, therefore we are going to press buy. But sometimes what happens in these moves, there is a liquidity grab in the opposite direction, meaning obviously in this case on the down low, for then the actual move eventuate, and which we don't know just yet. And I personally think this is what happened. This candle, if you notice the shape, and I know I sometimes talk about shape of the market, but this is just the way I see the market. These candles here were trying to grab liquidity up and down, and then the actual candle, which is a bullish candle that broke the structure, which was the previous high, had barely any wicks, and the one that did have the wicks that ended up taking these triple highs was a bearish candle. And that to me tells me, or at least in my experience, this is clear manipulation and clear smart money at play, where they basically inflated the price up to liquidate a lot of the buyers at this stage, and obviously push the price back down to eventually close some orders somewhere down here, will be my guess. So I do think this is a fake out personally. We won't know until obviously we break structure on the down low, but I do think in the short term we will see some sort of bearish price action, which would perfectly make sense at a market structure level. You can see massive imbalances left behind. So this move from the 1,800 until the 2,200 left a massive gap, as well as the second candle, daily candle here. So retracement into this area would not only be entirely viable from a market perspective, but also healthy, because if we do manage to come back and close and fill some of these imbalances, we will be much better positioned to then continue higher, as opposed to leaving imbalances behind, which the market does not like to do. And a market that does that is called an inefficient market. We like efficient markets. So keep an eye out for Ethereum. Once again, the sell would have been a nice sell up here into this level, and you can see this was the entry right here. I wasn't on the market on the charts at the moment, so I'm not going to chase, but we could potentially see some sort of lower time frame retest, perhaps maybe into this 4-hour candle right here. There could be some sort of retest overnight or in the next couple of days. This could also end up being some sort of harmonic. So depending on how the market reacts in the, let me do it properly. Depends how the market reacts in the next few hours. This could also be an harmonic playing with the low being here, high, low potentially being here. And we could also potentially come back. This is what I would like to see in an ideal world, to have an efficient market, come back, take out this low, sorry, these highs. If I can only do a straight line right there, take out this highs right here to then continue lower. So we'll see. This is obviously the structural level now that we're playing off. So we will have to see if this candle, which looks like we might push lower, is going to be able to reverse up or continue lower. Harmonics are not definitely something that you just take trades off necessarily right away. On the C to D legs, you want to, I always like to see the C to D before I take an harmonic play, and the reason is a lot of times market does look like an harmonic, and then the B to C leg either fails or doesn't eventuate. So it's a little bit tricky taking an harmonic play before we reach the D level, or the C to D, which is the last leg. So mind that. Keep it in mind if you are looking or learning about harmonics, and I do have a video about harmonics in the YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and look at that if you're interested. But for now, let's wait and see if Ethereum is going to break below the current structure and is going to potentially come into these liquidity pools right here, equal lows, and yeah, obviously we'll see if we continue lower or not. So I'll be looking at shorts. This will be the nicest short if we can manage to eventuate. We'll see. It's too early to tell, but this is where my current mindset is in terms of what I'm looking for in the market. And Solana and XRP both, I've got them in slightly similar position. We'll do Solana first, but basically what we can see is we are ranging into a daily range, I guess, ranging into daily range. And this range, you can see, almost extends all the way back with some sort of divergence here. We traded back into this huge candle up, and we failed to break above. We did break above, but not convincingly. This kind of manipulation weeks were obviously a fake out. So, and once again, we talked about the lack of wicks, and then the wick on the bearish candle being the one that takes liquidity. And this is a good example of what a fake out looks like in the market. So that's why I always like to have a look at the shape of a candle, not just the shape of the market. But we digress here. That's a story for another lesson. In the meantime, what we want to see obviously from Solana is, do we bounce off this range and come back here and then stick within this range, or do we break below and come back and potentially retest some of these imbalances and some of these levels down here? So a retest of the $115 to $105 wouldn't necessarily surprise me. That's a nice 76 level from low to high on the daily of this specific move right here. So this move, so retest of that level wouldn't surprise me. But once again, I'm not going to force the market. We are literally in the middle of a move, and I'll show you what I mean. If we go from low to high, we are literally at the just above the 50%. So I'm not going to try to force any trades currently until I see some better positioning. I like to see 76 or 86 retested, or a strong reversal of this level, effectively rejecting the idea of a potential continuation to the downside and a reversal to the upside, in which case I will be looking for buys on the lower time frame. But until we make a decision into this range for Sol and what it is going to be, it's not really going to be a trade that I'll be looking at. Sorry, a pair that I'll be looking at trading. The other thing I think notable to mention, I guess, is a lot of liquidity built down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, all building liquidity down here. I would like to see Sol taking out these lows and continue a little bit lower before moving up, just for efficiency. Once again, for efficiency of the market. I don't like the idea of moving up, leaving behind so much liquidity, because that means that at some stage we'll come back to it, and I'd rather we just get it over and done with now and move higher than later. So I'll be waiting potentially for some sort of buys here in the lower end of the spectrum for Sol. And XRP is kind of similar. You can see we also in a range, a little bit more, I guess, wide range, just because of how XRP moves. Lots of wicks. This was a wick down here, by the way. So that's, you can see that was a wick right there. And what I like to see, once again, it's kind of similar to what we just talked about. I like to see a retest outside of this middle of the range. You can see we are pretty much halfway from the top to the bottom of this box. We are exactly halfway, and I like to see this liquidity taken out, and similar to what Sol we just discussed, and potentially head into the 76, 86 area to then attempt to long. I don't think XRP will go much lower, but if we do fail to hold this range, then the road to potentially all the way back sub $1 is definitely an opportunity, a possibility there. And if that is the case, I'll definitely be looking at shorting. Now, in terms of portfolio plays, as you guys know, I do love XRP for portfolio. I have exited probably, I'm about 70% out, or 60% out of my portfolio from up here once we broke above the $3. And I'll likely keep my remaining XRP for the next cycle, because I do think the upside is potentially 3, 4, etc., etc. So I'm not going to be too stressed if we go sub $1, because I am already pretty much almost out, or the majority of my position is out already. So that is for spot though. But for leverage, I will be attempting to long from down here, depending obviously on what BTC is also doing. So this is the level that I have currently for XRP, and it is based, I believe, on a low time frame. From memory, it was a 4-hour candle. Yes, it was. this 4-hour candle right here, you can see big push down, retest, and if you drag it across is basically where I have the entry. So XRP and Sol kind of similar. I want to see some liquidity levels taken out before we attempt anything. Which now brings us to some live setups. And I say live even though, oh, there you go. It just triggered live. So if you're watching this, we are live on ICP. And if you're not watching this, well, we are live in ICP anyway. So this is a trade obviously that we called on the channel. The idea was pretty simple. So on a daily, you can see we obviously at a very interesting level, at a macro level. So we are trading very much at a low. So high to low, we come back all the way into almost a 786 area. And on obviously more of a what's price doing now, I do like the fact that we have we're starting to make some higher lows, apologies, and some higher highs. So structure is suggesting a bullish attempt. We already broken structure basically here. This was the breaker structure and the confirmation. So now it's just a matter of trying to find some entries. And obviously I do like this order block right here, which was what my entry was. And a 4-hour candle as well had my attention and was my entry 2, which is pretty much active as we speak. So you can see we had some nice high, and then obviously on a 4-hour we had a retest, higher high, and now I like to see this level right here respected, some sort of slow down and then move up. So if you are live on ICP, now is a good time. Just keep the trade, keep the trade up. And if you're not live, yeah, keep an eye out potentially for a little bit more of a retrace, and we could see this. Sorry, we could see this low swept right here. This is a possibility definitely, and this could be an entry to at the $4.80. So I might even just mark it up just here. So $4.80, this could be an entry 2. There you go. Obviously giving you a very nice risk to reward. So live on ICP, Tau is a pair that obviously we have looked at extensively in the last few weeks. We caught some incredible moves on Tau, both longs and short, which is nice, obviously. And where are we at now in terms of macro level? So on a daily, we can see a failure of, once again, making all-time high, not all-time highs, but structural highs. So this was the level where we rejected from. We did grab some liquidity, but now it's quite evident for Tau that we are going to clear these lows and potentially come back into 5618 or 786. This will be the area where I'm interested again, not just for a leverage play, but also for a portfolio play. So sub 250 will be my DCA level once again for Tau in terms of leverage play. So somewhere into this order block right here will be my DCA level right here. Beautiful. So keep an eye out for Tau, some alerts up. Once again, I'm not going to try to chase the market. We are in the middle of a move. If I was to try or attempt a short, I would like to see market come back up here into this daily candle. Will we get it? Likely not. The market does look like it has attempted some sort of mitigation and didn't quite reach it. It traded back into a fair value gap, but didn't quite make that candle up there. So I'm not even going to try to put some orders. This is a beautiful, beautiful candle that I would have loved to take a short from, but to be honest, I wouldn't even have been triggered because the way I take a trade would have been from my, oh, maybe I would have just been triggered. Just, let's have a look. Would I have been triggered? Let's have a look. Yes, just. That would have been a snipe. Oh, sorry, there. So from here to, no, I wouldn't have been triggered. Or maybe I would have. Just, yeah, I mean, who knows? This was such a You can see I tend to take my entries from the enter the candle, and this would have been just, in fact, to be honest, no, you wouldn't have there. So I would have missed this trade, which is fine, And next, I'm not going to look for shorts anymore. I'm just going to look at longs once we get to a level that is going to give me a better risk to reward. And I'm not going to try to long from here likely, because this is not going to give me a great risk to reward. You can see from here to potentially just as high as the previous highs, just a 1-1. And even if I was to tighten my risk, I'm exposed to a lot more downside, which I don't like. I'd rather wait and something like this, which gives me a 1 to almost 4. So this will be the level where I'll be looking at longing Tau once again. And let's have a look at quickly a couple of stocks. We have Intel, which did a very nice move since our last call. It was a 10% move right here. Obviously, we're now retraced and we are attempting to push higher. Now, what is going to happen with Intel? We will see. They have a new CEO. They have some bullish news coming out. So I'm expecting this highs to be around eventually. And yeah, so I'm in Intel. I put it on the chat and I'm a buyer. I bought already. And similar to Target. Target is a slightly different story. We are now into COVID territory. So you can see this is on the weekly now. COVID candle right here, March 2020. We are now trading into this candle. And conveniently, we have stopped. You can see how much price is zigzagging here. So I will expect some sort of zigzag and then the move happens. So I am going to look at putting potentially an option, but definitely a portfolio play here for me. Portfolio play, so I'll be happy to buy some shares as well as potentially looking at an option. So those are the two stocks that I am currently eyeing and focusing on in terms of stock plays for us. Just to recap, BTC is very much at a waiting game, but I lean more towards the bearish. So unless I can see some sort of price reaction until I see a bullish price action on the low time from here, but I want to see some sort of retracement for a short. That will be my preferred area. Can I review CAS? Of course I can review Casper. Let's have a look. Casper. Oh, where are we? There. All right, so this is my level for Casper. You can see we are very close. I think we called it when it was at 7 cents, and we're now into the high 6s. The thing with Casper that we've got to be a little bit careful of is on a higher time frame. There is a lot of liquidity down here, and a sub 5 cents Casper is potentially an option on the table, and come back and see these kind of liquidity order grabs at 5 cents. Obviously, that is a little bit of a wishful thinking, especially for an asset that does have a fair bit of demand. It is very much on the radar of a few people, but it's also not on the radar of major exchanges, which is good. Like, it's not listed on Binance and whatnot. It is available on Bybit, sure, but it's not. I don't even know if it's on Coinbase, to be honest. I don't think it is. So for Casper, I'm definitely a holder. So if you know me, you know that I'm a holder of Casper. I've started buying when it was like 15, and I bought again at 10, and then I bought again at 7. So I'm DCA on the way up and down. So, but my position is, I think my average is just above 9 cents. So I'm a little bit under, and I wouldn't mind entering win size in Casper once we reach the 6 cents, because that would dramatically bring my average down. Which obviously is a good thing for portfolio, but for leverage, I will definitely be playing once we hit the level. And the reason why we're gonna play that is if you look at what I did. So this fib right here, so it was a low to high, so you can see that we hit the A6 right there, and then once again the fib from here to here, it was the second fib, which also had an A6. So there was a confluence of fib levels. Let me move it right there. You can see A6 and A6. So once we reach that level for Casper, which is between the what is it, 6 cents, 61 cents, 0.061 and 0.60, that would be a level for me that is definitely worth having a bit of an attempt and a stab at a long, just for the sheer amount of confirmations that we have. Double AA6 level on a macro and a daily as well. So that's my level on Casper. Hasn't hit yet, and I'm not going to rush it either. These are kind of setups that I like to be precise, especially when it comes to I guess leverage. I don't want to just be spraying. Like, I can be a little bit more forgiveful, I guess, when it comes to portfolio plays, but on leverage, we want to be super precise. So once again, we'll have a look at what happens on the lower time frame once we reach this level. If we can see some sort of higher lows and higher highs being made. We're not quite there yet, but definitely put alarms on. And I think T-Bone, it was you that asked me earlier in the chat. Sorry, I didn't respond. I don't have any limit order to set yet on this, because I want to see how the price reacts on lower time frame. So this is very much a level that I have high interest on, and I've got alerts for, but I don't have limits set just yet, because we could very much flush, and I don't want to be caught with my pants down in that regards. So that's CAS, yeah. Yeah, the confluence on the AA6 is what really got my attention. I've managed in the past to catch some insane sniper entries when you have this kind of high level confluence, which is obviously a weekly / monthly structure, and you layer on top of that what is a daily structure, and the confluence is that close. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a level that is going to pay off in one way or another, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. And that's kind of what I had for us today. A bit of an overlook, macro level, obviously, where the dollar and the dominance and the alts are. I think the main takeaway for me is I am still very much 50-50 as to where we are in the cycle. There's a lot of people on X, and I've been taking a massive break, by the way. So if you don't see me posting a lot, it's for that reason. Just too much negativity, war, and things like that. I don't need that in my life. So I'm unfortunately, obviously, many people are affected, and prayers out to everyone affected. But I don't want to be necessarily be exposed to too much of that unless I have to. So I've been taking a massive break, but in terms of what I do see, it's a lot of talk is, are we there yet in terms of the cycle? And the short story is we could potentially be at a level where we do see some sort of pullback, which I did previously mentioned. I was expecting a big reaction by the end of June, 23rd of June, and you can see, like, you can go back in all the streams. This was my time fib that I drew a long time ago, set on the 23rd of June, and we are very much near. It's next week, so also even this week, and you can see we're already starting to make some sort of move on the downside. So whether we go back and we head back into the 50s and 60s, or 60s and 70s, I should say, by December, and potentially range for a while. Oh, sorry, let's not do that, definitely. And potentially range before we hit the next cycle for 150 plus in 2027, or, this whole move gets invalidated and we just keep going higher. Too hard, too soon to tell, but I do have my my antennas tingling that this is definitely an area to keep an eye out. So if you are heavily exposed in the market and you have some lower entries in either Bitcoin or Perhaps some alts that you managed to catch really nice and early, and you haven't taken some profits yet. I would probably say now is a good time to shave off a sensible amount, because obviously with Bitcoin being pretty much at all-time highs, right? Like we're just below all-time high. Now is a good time to potentially be exiting and covering your bases. At least cover your cost basis on many of the alts. So however much you pay for them, you want to make sure you cover. But yeah, that's kind of my my take, I guess. So any questions in the chat, feel free to shoot them, or take yourself off mute if you prefer. We got Dazza in the house. Have we got stock of the week? Yes, Target. Target is my stock of the week. TGT. Cracking level. Right here. Into the COVID candle. Weekly massively slowing down. Some volumes starting to come in. You can see we're starting to pick up volume with the prices going down, volume is going up. So that's a very good sign of interest. They had some negative earnings back in May. The next earnings are in August, I believe. Yep. So we're kind of in between now, but I would say we're probably going to end up ranging for a little bit, and then we'll make a big move up. Covered XRP, I have. Yes, Jimmy, thank you for making time in your workday. I appreciate every single one of you, even those that are listening to this recorded. So thank you for tuning in. I might actually stay up a little bit later tonight and enter an option. We'll see. Hey, okay, there you go. Target is already trading a little bit higher pre-market. That's everything though. I'll wait for Mush because I can see typing. No. False alarm. Thank you, Mush. Thank you. All good, Matt. All good. Let's take a quick look at EL as per request from Dazza. Estee Lauder, which I believe they are the aren't they like the beauty products? I believe they are. So where are we now? Holy moly. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Look at this volume coming in. Big volume coming in. We have traded into that volume already. And now we're starting to push up. This could be a good play. Good one, Dazza. Low to high. Can't make this stuff up. 886. Someone tells me the fib don't work. And just show them the charts. Bang on the 886. Now, this is obviously on the weekly. Very healthy signs of volume coming in. Can we take out the next weekly high? Potentially enter on a retest? We can. I've got this now on the watch list. So looks like, yeah, we've broken up on the daily. We are going to trade back into this daily gap right here. So this will be the level, if I was to beat on anything, this would be the level where we see some sort of potential pullback, which will give us a re-entry, maybe even a little bit lower, something like this will be nice. Take out that liquidity, but we'll have to see. Definitely interesting levels, more than interesting levels. Definitely at a great level now, but I wouldn't want to enter just yet. And what I mean by that, you can see on the weekly, we are very much approaching a liquidity pool level, so lots of liquidity up here, which means we could reverse from here and come back down. So I'll say wait for 63 to 60, sub 60, so 50 and something to about 63. That will be a good good level to enter. What are you thinking for that, as a portfolio or option? Because this thing on an option will be, you'd have to do it for quite out, just by judging by the way it moves. Yeah, for portfolio, great. Yep, solid. Solid. I don't know much about financials, what they've done. Yeah, 26 bill. So they've been down on revenue. They're up in profit, and then they've gone down. We want to see some green eventually in revenue. 2%, 1%. This is operating income. Minus 19. Yeah, we want to see some nice financials coming through, hopefully in the next, when is that, August. So yeah, potentially a little bit closer. Yeah, we'd have to also look at how, you know, things like war and things like that affect all stocks, not just this one in particular, but all stocks potentially, in terms of, we don't know until Orange Man makes a, you know, for all we know, America could go back into a war. Who knows? Especially after the tweets. Was that yesterday, today? But 100%, this is a stock that is worth keeping onto the watch list. There was a lot of positive earnings previously, so that was nice. A lot of green, but you can see the price is still not reflecting that. We went down, but what we do like to see is this kind of volume coming in as the price was going down. We like to see this divergence of volume right here. So good call, Dazza. Let's have a look, Zeus, for JUP. You definitely don't want to de-risk JUP right now, and I'll tell you why. We'll have a look at it together. Do not de-risk JUP now. Where is my Solana? Cool. So, tell me, Zeus, in the chat, are we at a higher or are we at the low? Where are we on the chart? Not just Zeus, but anyone. Are we at a high in the chart or are we at a low? Yup, we're at a low. Do we like to buy low and sell high, or do we like to sell low and buy high? What do we like to do? Rhetoric question. I know you know the answer. We like to buy low. We don't like to sell low. Now, Zeus, if we were up here, or even up here, I would say, sure, they're risking a little bit. Not a bad idea, because you missed an all-time high, which was shortly after release, but you are somewhat at a high. Now you are very much close at a low. So if you were pressing buy here, or anywhere basically above this level, I would assume, because I know that you're good at trading, I would assume you did it because you had conviction on the project and in everything they did. So my conviction has not personally weighted into Jupiter. And look, I'm gonna be honest. I was buying here and I was buying here, and I'm buying here too. You can see my green box is my DCA, so I'm into DCA territory. Now is a good time for me to bring down my cost basis and do eventually build a better position from the low, and then once I get up into my break even, I can probably close those positions at a break even, and I've got a better position to let it run. So this is how this kind of market are good to trade into the positions that you may have missed, better entries. But definitely, and I'm not a financial advisor, so please do whatever you want. Don't take my word for it. But I do definitely think this is a good area to buy Jupiter as opposed to an area to de-risk Jupiter personally. And there's a lot of other alts that are similar to that. So personally, I'm a buyer down here. So that is my 2 cents for Jupiter. No worries. All right, legends. I think if there is no other questions, I might call it a night. You can probably hear my voice. I'm still a little bit sick, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit croaky and blocked. That's because I am blocked. So no worries. No worries, Jimmy. Thank you guys and girls for your time. And yeah, please do make sure to leave a comment if you're watching at the recording. And if not, thank you so much for tuning in into this episode this week. And I'll see you guys and girls next week. Have a great rest of the week.